The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery. But the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. On the Channel 13 side of our table today, we have Matt Trabold. Good to have you back.
Thanks for having me on.
Talk some basketball. Mike Catalana co-hosting. Pat Duffy in uniform.
Cuse, West Virginia Camping World Bowl. Thought I'd go with the old school Marvin Harrison Cuse jersey. Not great for him after football, but while he was playing football, everything was great.
Very good. Hey, look, we had a great basketball game played this week with UB going into Syracuse and winning. What are the repercussions of that happening?
So I still think that UB, this obviously helps, and they showed that their veteran depth cannot be taken down for 40 minutes against good opponents on the road, but I still want to see a Marquette win for that at-large opportunity because they still have to play in the MAC. The MAC has some good teams. Kent State beat Vanderbilt, but I look at that Marquette win, that would be huge because the weak bubble is going to help them, I think. West Virginia win, even though it was on the road, does not help them too much because West Virginia has taken a step back. The Big Ten might get 10, 11 teams, but besides that, Pac-12 might only get 3 to 4. The A-10 might be a one-bid league. Mountain West might be a one-bid league. So weak bubble helps them, but to be safe, if they're going to have maybe one loss in MAC play, I think you have to look at that Marquette.
That's short term, but longer term now. A kid coming out of New York State, a Division I high school capable kid, he now has more than one option of a school to go to stay in state, doesn't he?
Does this become a mid-major powerhouse? And you've already seen Jonathan Williams. He had a Syracuse offer. The kid from Rochester, he ends up going to UB. You've seen even Bonaventure took Osun Osunai from Putnam Science, a Connecticut school. They took him from Syracuse, essentially. So you're seeing Syracuse, little by little, miss out on guys in-state, or at least against in-state schools. Will it become more by more?
It's an interesting dynamic with Syracuse because there are times during every one of these seasons where they look terrible, right? They look like they can't figure it out and all. And then somehow he does have a way, Jim Boeheim, of getting them together. So when you're watching Syracuse in December or even January sometimes, you're like, and I feel it, they're not having fun. It doesn't look like a program you want to be part of. When I was with them during the NCAA tournament last year, those kids were having a blast. They love being that team. It all sort of comes together. So burying that program in a certain way of saying they're not what these other ones are is a bit strong only because Syracuse has done it before. But I think it's more about a UB in the idea that they are a viable option. I think they were with Hurley. I think they are with Oates. I think after Oates leaves, they're going to need to maintain that. But all of a sudden, UB, they even have football going too. It's a program now where kids look at it and go, yeah, I want to play there. And they're starting to get that support even within the school.
So the funniest part about UB beating Syracuse in the Dome earlier this week, right? Syracuse fans are pretty arrogant. People that went to Syracuse are pretty arrogant. There was no thought, even though UB is a better team, that UB was going to come into the Dome and beat them. Syracuse fans thought this. Now, after they get beat on their home court, they need to cheer for UB to be the most successful mid-major for the rest of the season, right? You are now cheering for this team. And God, the videos I'm seeing of these UB Bulls fans, and for good reason, going crazy inside the Dome, you now got to high-five that guy. Good luck, buddy. We need you for the rest of the season.
And it's kind of the perfect storm for them, too. I mean, right? Because Buffalo is closer to their ceiling now with a senior-laden team than Syracuse is. To Mike's point, they're going to keep on the upslide.
And I definitely see that. And they have those younger guys. They have the 2 4-stars. We talked about Jonathan Williams. They have Ronaldo Segu. But it's those veteran guys you saw last night. They couldn't keep them down. And that superior length, very good defensive team in Buffalo, but the length is what really hurt UB in that first half. More turnovers than usual, less three-pointers made than usual. But the veterans, they never stayed more than a few buckets past. They kept ticking away. And sure enough, 3/4 of the way into the game.
The other part I like it, bigger picture too, is Nate Oates coming out and thanking Jim Boeheim for keeping them on the schedule. While it is a he's thanking him, say, because you could have taken us off. it was also an opportunity for Nate to get a little shot in because he said, we almost beat them last year. They could have taken us off the schedule, but they played us, and I appreciate it. So that does two things. It says, we're right there with you. And the second thing it does, it says, it's hard for now Syracuse to pull UB off the schedule because it looks like you're ducking them. They almost beat you, and they did beat you. So I think that's good for all around New York State
But
basketball.
those kids all graduate. Syracuse probably smokes them by 20 next year.
It could be the case, but you're also bringing in, like you said, a guy like Jonathan Williams, and they're bringing in top recruits too. Maybe not at that level, but we'll see where the programs go.
This is Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. We talk Bills next.
The Press Box is brought to you in part by Bay & Goodman Pizza, a local Rochester favorite. Corner of North Winton and Browncroft, Bay & Goodman Pizza.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. So, the Bills go to New England this week.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this game because the Bills are one of those teams where obviously the playoffs are long gone, but they're still playing hard. They're enjoying these games. You know, sometimes you see players, and I heard Micah Hyde talking about it. He's like, I'm used to being in the playoffs. He was in Green Bay every year. And then last year we made it. So this is new for me. He's like, but the guys are energized to play. I think it makes for an interesting game. New England needs this game badly. And New England is still New England. They're still better than the Bills. But I think the Bills should play pretty loose in this game. I don't think they're going to be intimidated. Look, if they lose to a New England team that's going to win the division and go into the playoffs and all. So I really want to see, and I want to see how Allen plays. Everybody talks about rookies or young quarterbacks against Belichick. I'm really intrigued by this game. I'm encouraged by what I've seen from them.
Hello.
I want to believe what you're saying.
I'm not saying winning the game.
No, I
Right.
got it. Everything you said,
Yeah.
that was the thing that you said. The Patriots have lost 2 in a row. The
Yeah.
Patriots are now pretty much, for all intents and purposes, out of a bye, right?
No, because if the Eagles beat Houston and they win, they're going to be the number 2 seed.
Oh, okay.
Because they beat them head to head.
So okay,
finish with the Jets.
so even to that point, then, like, I don't think there is. I think that it's the typical, and I do this too, and I feel the same way. Pie in the sky. This is what we have going for us. The Bills are going to do great against the Patriots. Like, how many times? It's Lucy with the football, man.
No,
Lucy with the.
you're right. You're right. If your thinking is, can the Bills go there and beat them?
No, I'm not even
talking
saying
about
beat.
winning.
I'm saying even competitive throughout the whole game. I mean, listen, you got a rookie quarterback. You know Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks. The defense is decimated with injuries right now. You got guys that are undrafted free agents starting in your defense against Tom effing Brady. I mean, I like what you're saying. I disagree with everything you're saying. You're wrong. I like it.
All I said was they're going to be competitive.
I don't think they're going to be competitive.
I think Allen's a wild card in this thing.
Well, I look at it like that because what do the Bills have to lose? And you're seeing him right now down the stretch. Yes, he looks more poised as an actual quarterback game after game down the stretch. But what I'm seeing out of him, and I think what's been very productive for him, is when stuff is maybe not perfect and he's looking through his reads and he's not seeing open guys, it's that kind of balls to the wall mentality that has seen success. It's that, what do I have to lose? Let me see what I can do. Let me make some highlight reels maybe. But
see, here's the thing. There's 2 points. There's 2 sides to the what do I have to lose. Like, there's the thing where it goes good, where you go, what did I have to lose? And then there's the thing where you lose it, and you go, oh, that's what I had to lose. A football game and credibility, which is possible.
And the other part of this game that is it the last time the Bills played Brady? I mean, we don't know, right?
Whoa, come on. Whoa. Ever?
He's 41. There's nothing to say at the end of the year. He doesn't say, I'm done. Like, what is his... It's not like he needs another championship. Is there something he's playing for after this? Depending on how the year goes?
he eats too much kale. He's going to be fine for a few more seasons.
Pick it for me. We're playing a 12-point line on this game.
I think it's going to be pretty one-sided for the Patriots. Sony Michel is back. I just see too much in the backfield besides Josh. Obviously, he has played well recently, but so many injuries in the running back core.
You got another game for me?
Yeah, I'm going to go Philadelphia for my guy right here, Mike, and the Texans. Obviously, both teams
Well, I
have
didn't see
something
that
to go
coming.
for. Yeah, so the Texans, they really want to make sure they get that bye, The Eagles, they're playing for a lot more, if you ask me. And I see DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller, two of the big dogs for the Texans, not at 100%. I think Darren Sproles has a role in this game. Look at this. And I just see Eagles teams, it's just in the city. It's that kind of stuff, back against the wall.
Man.
Look at this. I'm not even from Philadelphia.
What are you gunning for a raise?
Assistant sports director. Who you got this week?
All right, I got the Bills to stay in the game, lose to the Patriots, but I think it's going to be closer than people think. And how about this one? I'm going to take the Jets in a pick'em game against Green Bay. I think Green Bay is shot. I think they're done. I think the Jets played really hard against Houston last week. Sort of like the Bills, though their coach is going to get fired. I'm going to take the Jets. That's bad, but I'm going to take the Jets in that game.
Who you got?
The Bills will mop up garbage time, keep it within the 12 points. Bills lose, they keep it within the 12, but I don't think it's going to be that close. The score won't say it. The other game, Los Angeles, the Rams against the Cardinals. They're in Arizona. It's a 14-point gap. I think the Rams have been exposed a little bit. 14's too much. I don't think they cover the 14.
Wow, Cardinals and Jets being
know.
played. Because I got to pick up two games on you, so I got to take the Patriots, and then I'll take Seattle getting points at home against the Chiefs. I think the line is 5. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Like it or not, is next.
Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Today is all about belief. Right? It's not enough for me to believe it. It's not enough for Coach Hill or Coach Barsham to believe it. You have to be the ones that believe that you are capable of running the way that we all know you are capable of, and that those negative thoughts that are coming into your head, you can acknowledge and push away. What's your response to them going to be? 5 more meters, 5 more meters, 5 more meters.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Welcome back. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Like it or not, this second tier of NFL teams, you're playing against one of them. The Rams have kind of slipped that, like the power rankings have shifted.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Listen, it happens every NFL season, right? Look at all of this offense. Offense is back. Defense is dead forever. You never give these defensive coordinators and players enough credit because there is always an adjustment to what jumps out. It used to be the defense came along faster than offense back in the traditional football days. That might be changing. But these guys are very smart guys. They get paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for a reason. They figured out a way to catch it. And Mike and I have been saying all season that your Chiefs, that your Rams, they're going to come back down to earth at some point. And I think we're seeing it. I think that the teams are a lot closer going into the playoffs than people want to give them credit for.
Like the Chargers and the Bears.
Yeah, I like the way those teams play. I think that works in almost any game in the playoffs. All that being said, when the Chiefs are rolling or the Rams are rolling, they can run people off the field. But that's not normally the way it goes in the playoffs. And I think about who do I trust on the road? Like, as well as the Chiefs have played, they may still end up not as the number 1 seed, right? And then how much do you trust them on the road? How much do you trust their quarterback? He's a young guy who's had a phenomenal year. So I think it is. And that point about those teams and all these geniuses on offense, yeah, other teams do adjust. What's he have? 36 touchdowns for Drew Brees passes, 31 of them at home, 5 of them on the road. The good news for them is they look like they'll be able to stay at home.
Doing the playoffs.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're a team like the Chicago Bears, if you see this coming, if you know that you've got a team that's going to be so much better in December than they were in September.
Well, the Bears, what you see is they've had some pretty bad offenses, bad offenses and defenses recently. But what they're doing is, I think, a little bit more sustainable because you look at the Saints. The Saints, they give up a lot of points. They are the 1 seed right now in the NFC. But I think maybe if you look off the paper and you look at just the fact that they don't play both sides of the ball as well as the Bears, I think that's much more sustainable, that defensive sort of prowess.
Is Duke unbeatable by NCAA tournament time?
I think they are because so young, but so few turnovers. Right now, top 15 nationally in assist turnover ratio. I think Trey Jones, not as many headlines as Zion Williamson or RJ Barrett or Cam Reddish, but the kid is top 10, 7th right now nationally in assist turnover ratio. Youth does not usually do this in terms of efficiency and not turning the ball over. It's just different. It's just different for them in terms of these not Cinderella, but one and done sort of teams.
I just love to hear him talk basketball. That's all.
I don't know what he's saying, but I do enjoy hearing it.
It is not. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse Unfinished Business. This is next.
And now here's this week's MVP Experience Stat of the Week, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy. No appointment ever needed.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Bacon, egg, cheese. Only one way to make this better. Another one. Dunkin' Go-Tos. Get 2 bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches for $5. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse Unfinished Business presented by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin', as always. Pat.
The world is changing, and so am I. So the Sabres are playing the Florida Panthers the other night at the First Niagara Center in Buffalo. I went with my brother. Great seats. Oh, greatest night ever, except for the score. And there was a part in the game where Keith Yandle, who plays for the Panthers, goes after Jeff Skinner, the Sabres' leading scorer, one of the leading scorers in the NHL. Now, Skinner doesn't fight, so he turtles down, and Yandle's screaming at him, and it's about something that happened earlier in the game, but he jumped him. He took a 2-minute penalty, and that was that. In fact, nothing happened to Yandle for the rest of the game. Now, if this game was 10, 20, 30 years ago, Keith Yandle would have had 15 sticks right in his jaw. Guys would have been yelling at him, going by the bench, chirping him, telling him all kinds of stuff, and trying to hurt him. That didn't happen in this game. And you know what? I'm okay with it. The Sabres got a power play out of it. They didn't capitalize. The Sabres were down 4-2 with 12 minutes left in the third period, where a couple of years ago, that's the time to go get Yandle. But the way that the NHL is now, 4-2 isn't an insurmountable lead. Hell, 5-2 with 12 minutes left isn't an insurmountable lead. I'm all for fighting when two guys get angry with each other and they go. I'm not the enforcer guy, but hockey is such a fast sport at this point that there's no need to go after a guy who goes after your guy, because you can make him hurt more legitimately by putting the puck in the back of the net.
You were still looking for it, weren't you?
No, in fact, I was, after they missed on the power play, if somebody would have went after Yandle, I would have been upset, because again, a 2-goal deficit with 12 minutes left. There's plenty of time for this team.
People change.
I'm changed, man.
What do you got?
So Spire Institute, it's a prep school out of Geneva, Ohio. Last year, it was just your run-of-the-mill, your everyday, big-time prep school program. That was last year. They had Jalen Pickett, an Aquinas kid. He's now starring at Siena. This year, though, you have LeVar Ball and LaMelo Ball in terms of on the court. They join the fray. It's become a sideshow, unfortunately. He has had his moments, but has largely struggled. What has really irked me recently is that you're seeing LeVar Ball say in the media that my kid is going to play college basketball next year. We're going to set up some offers. He's going to play at UNC and Duke. Sorry, I think the fact that you brought him away from an actual high school team, brought him to the Ukrainian Pro League, you say he did not have compensation, but I'm not buying it. Even if he didn't get compensated and is actually eligible for the NCAA, you need NCAA programs to want to recruit your son and recruit you essentially because you want to have such a big role in what he does on and off the court. I don't see it. Don't get your hopes up. I think you burnt that bridge for your son with the NCAA. I don't see it. Just stop it. Just stop it, LeVar.
We're not hearing much from him, and I kind of enjoy that.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's not a super high-profile program in terms, it's not UCLA yet, so he's maybe staying back, which is awesome.
All right, there are nice gestures, and then there's what goes on in pro sports. You want to talk about how much money there is? Yeah, nice gestures here might be somebody getting you a cup of water or a gift card to Dunkin' Donuts or, you know, somebody saying nice things about the Philadelphia Eagles. All that is nice. But in Major League Baseball with the New York Yankees, a nice gesture for CC Sabathia was $500,000. Do you remember the game last year they were playing against Tampa Bay? CC needed, I think it was 165 innings for the year, and he'd get this bonus of $500,000. Well, someone had hit his player, so of course it's baseball. Unlike what Pat just said about hockey, they never evolved. So I'm going to hit the guy for the other team. And he does, and he walks off, and he gives up this bonus. But he's close enough, and the Yankees are signing him again. And what's $500,000 amongst friends? So they give it to him, and his agent actually says, we thought it was a nice gesture by the team. That's what they can do in Major League Baseball. They throw money around. By the way, that's also more money, that bonus alone, than the veteran minimum of players from about 30 to 53 on an NFL roster who put their careers on the line every time they step on the field.
Nice gestures of the New York Yankees. It just
Nice
doesn't seem to.
Gestures.
It doesn't
really?
sound right.
Yeah,
to
because
me.
the Red Sox would never do that. No. They're mean champions.
Anything about David Ortiz?
Merry
Close out the
Christmas.
year.
Merry Christmas, David. How about that?
This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Unfinished Business is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Matt, good to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
Love the breakdown.
It's awesome.
Mike, Pat, Merry Christmas.
Hey!
Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.